Yeah, so what's up, everybody? For this episode, we got Dina Marto on the episode. Obviously, I know me and Angelo, so we're gonna pass it off to Dina to kind of like, if you could just give us an introduction of what you do, and kind of also what's your industry or sector you focus on. And yeah, I mean, go ahead, you could take it.
All right, thanks for having me, guys. I'm Dina Marto. I have been in the music and entertainment business for the last 20 years. I'm based in Atlanta, originally from Jordan, in the Middle East. So I'm Jordanian Palestinian. And yeah, just started off getting in the business. And now I've been an entrepreneur mostly the whole time. And now I run an agency, an all women-led agency where we do marketing, branding, project management, talent management, stuff like that. And that's really fun, and still have my roots in music. So I'm on TI's management team. And previous to that, I owned a recording studio in Midtown Atlanta that I owned and operated for 7 years, did artist development, talent management. And previous to that, I was at Island Def Jam with LA Reid when Jay-Z was president. And so I worked in the A&R department for 6 years there. But I've always been an entrepreneur. I started off as an entrepreneur in my career. I started a PR firm when I was only 19 in college.
Yeah, so I was actually going to ask you about that. So you're 19 in college, and when I was in college, I had a little side job on the side, and I couldn't even really concentrate on it because I was getting slammed with my courses or whatnot. So how was that process like, being young and then starting a venture at a young age, and yet having to focus in college? Like, how did you balance that out?
I was like really living double lives there. So I actually graduated with over a 3.5 from college. So I actually was making good grades. I missed certain things here and there, but my focus was to get my degree and do as best as I can. But I had a really conservative family, got out of my parents' house, and I was like, this is my chance to really dive into an industry that I wanted to be in. I didn't have any previous like relationships. I didn't know anybody. I started from square one, and I was like, this is my time when I'm young and I'm in college and I'm learning. And it was almost like my internship trial period. And I was like, let me get my feet wet. Let me go out here and just start building relationships, networking. And I just took a leap of faith. I really didn't know what I was doing at 19, to be honest with you. And it was a lot of work, but I was able to just juggle both worlds. And I really feel like it gave me my head start in my career more than everybody else, because a lot of people wait till they graduate college before they start doing things, and like getting mentors or getting internships or trying to test out what they like to do, what they want to do. And I felt like I got a head start just jumping in right there when I was in college.
Yo, Dina, so that was actually me, like trying to get mentors after the fact. Like usually when you're in college, you're not thinking about all these things. So I'm glad you brought that up. But you also said it was like a lot of hard work. When you talk about hard work, what were those things that were really taking a toll throughout the experience?
So, I mean, obviously I got to have fun. I was in college, right? But I didn't get to have the type of fun that all the other college students were having, because I was trying to run a business and really get my career going. So it takes a lot of discipline, a lot of focus, and to be able to really juggle that and still make good grades and show up for class and actually do my best was a lot, because you're already lack of sleep. It's already a whole new world. You know how that college life is.
Right.
So long ago, but yeah, it was really just about focusing in and having a strategy. And I didn't really know what the end result was going to be, but I was like, I'm going to try my best to like do everything I can to get in this industry, the music business that I really wanted to be in.
Yeah, so you did a really good job with that. How did you like get plugged in? Because it's very difficult to network, starting from scratch.
Yeah.
Especially being a college student. Like, I feel like people don't really
Well, even then, I feel like you have to have a lot of confidence. I mean, I could tell from your personality, but you got to have a lot of confidence, because it's like, even just networking with people who don't have like some type of like high caliber can put you in positions sometimes could be nerve-wracking, So like even in the music industry where like the odds are really stacked against you.
Yeah.
How did you go navigate that space? And
I would say, like, I've always been confident. I would say that that's a great aspect to have, and confidence is something that you kind of continue to build. But what I was betting on is myself. I knew, like, if you just give me a chance, I will prove to you that I can get things done. And so when I came to the table with people networking, I wouldn't come asking for stuff. I would come say, hey, I can do this, I can do that. How can I help you with this? And I tried to bring value to the table so that even though I wasn't getting paid, and even though a lot of my beginning work was all pro bono, it got me in the door, and it got people to start to know who I was and my credibility. And it started to build my resume. So then I could eventually say, well, now I'm charging this for that. I can start making money, but you got to start from somewhere, right? So I started with being humble and saying, hey, if you give me a chance, I can prove to you that I'm worth paying.
So you're plugged in and stuff. What are the next steps? So as far as like the business aspect, did you have a mentor on like creating maybe like an LLC, or what were the next steps? Because I feel like everybody, the next thing they do is they take it to social media and they start running, their business on social media, but they don't really know the full business behind it. So did you have a mentor? Did you, use the internet, or
like what was implementing a business model to it?
Yeah, I definitely watched a lot of people do their thing, and I had a lot of people I could ask questions to. So attorneys, friends that were already executives. And a lot of the way that I got to meet these people was just being at the right place at the right time, being at the right events. So really just putting yourself out there, being able to walk up to people, introducing yourself. What do you do? Who are you? Getting their information, following back up with them. That whole networking piece is very key. And so then I had this network of people that I could lean on. And so I knew how to like technically kind of set up an LLC from the internet, but I didn't know what it all meant to run a business, honestly, not at that age. So it was a lot of trial and error. And it was just a lot of just trying to provide service that people would take, and like with the entertainment PR firm, and doing it in a way where it felt like it was unique to them and that they liked the service. So I don't know. It's very, I didn't have a real plan or strategy. Actually, my best friend was like, I was like, hey, listen, I think we should start a PR firm. And she was like, I don't know, maybe we should take more classes. And I was like, I literally took a class in college, and it was a public relations class. And I was like, oh, I can do this. Like, this is what I'm already doing. I'm doing these things. And I didn't know you could get paid to do these things.
Fun fact, I was actually in PR too. So yeah, I remember I was in PR class, and I was like, man,
really?
I don't know that. Yeah,
did you like it?
I don't think so. I didn't. I mean, it's cool. Like, it's like you have to be really creative. I think it was really like for people who like are, marketing really on the go, like always coming up with new ideas. Me, I'm kind of like a numbers guy. That's why I started sticking more to business, just because it's like, I could, like, people hate accounting. I could literally just sit and look at financial statements, and that shit is like dope to me. You feel me? But
so that is like the complete opposite of me, because I don't do numbers at all. So I don't know numbers. I don't know
y'all are
how
the
to
creative
manage
ones.
it. It's such a skill to me. Yeah.
No,
that's crazy.
I'm interested in knowing, like, how were you, like, so me, one of the things that I struggle with, right? So we're obviously creating a software company. I don't know if Angelo told you, but it's an app focused on like, media stories or whatnot. One of the hardest parts for us is like trying to get out there into the community and kind of like build, community aside from Instagram and, your social medias, because that's obviously like the easiest part. How did you go about early on in your career, or even, starting your first firm at 19 to be like, all right, we're going to get these people, and not only getting the initial people, but actually sticking with them, right? That's the hard part, creating that loyalty and shit. So how did you go about that?
That's so funny that you asked that, because when I started 20 years ago, there wasn't social media the way it was now. I think MySpace, Facebook maybe, but like Instagram and all the things that we have now, I didn't have those tools. It was very grassroots. So it was collecting emails, sending out email blasts, like stuff that you probably don't do now, right? Or you even think about. But
I haven't done an email blast.
I'm telling you, we had email blasts for the company. We would be putting on events, collecting people's emails, that's how we got started. So it wasn't like we were really able to showcase it in social media or online.
Right.
Yeah. So now with the whole tech revolution and whatnot, are you looking into like getting into, the new spaces like NFTs? It looks like that's a hot trend right now in like music and
Especially
entertainment.
for
So
music, right.
yeah, have you thought about maybe
Yeah, I
releasing
actually
something?
have a super big deal on the table that I might be working on. I can't talk about it just yet, but it would be really big in the NFT space. So I've been having a lot of conversations about it. Have I personally bought an NFT? No, I have not yet, because I think you need like guidance on that. I don't know how to just jump right in and like know what to do or what to get. But I think it's a really interesting world how we're going pretty much virtual on everything. And like literally people wanting to live these like metaverse virtual lives.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's right up the what you do, your alley, because music, entertainment, everything. It looks like everything. Everybody's trying to go into the metaverse and then NFTs.
Are y'all
Um,
big? Are y'all big in it?
Nah,
I,
I personally
well,
look, me, I'm a really like old school investor. I stick to stocks only. I mean, I work in banking, so it's literally like I only go with the things I understand. And I like the people I look up to, like Warren Buffett and them say, stick to things you understand. You
Yes.
start fucking with shit you don't understand,
Yep.
you fucking yourself. You're gonna end up doing some dumb shit and losing your money. You feel me? So it's like I'm good on
That's
that
why I
now.
said I would need somebody to direct me, like say,
yeah.
hey, these are your three options. Option number 1, 2, 3. These are the differences. You pick what you like, but this is
Right.
Right.
what I need somebody to do that, like you would in banking or investment, like a business advisor or somebody that's putting your money places and stocks
Right.
and all. The same thing. It's like, here, do you want Apple? Do you want Google? Like, here are your choices, and you get to make the choice, but I need you to like direct it.
Nah, facts.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know some people who like my friend is actually heavy into it and they're like making some heavy bread in it. And it makes me think, like I low key just want to like dive in it and
Yeah.
fuck around, but it's just like I'm too, what's it called? Like risk averse. It's like,
Yep.
I don't know. I personally, so I go to casinos a lot, right? And I like playing blackjack. And I'm the type of person where it's like I'm only gonna play when like the bets are on my side. It's just like just going for fun and playing around. That's not my thing, I don't want to lose my money. So
Well, even though blackjack, the bet is not on your side unless you're really counting cards, though. Like the
that's
outcome, the
true too.
chances. So,
That is
I'm the
true.
other way though. I like to kind of take risk, and I'm pretty tech savvy, so I know some of these things a little bit. I do research on them, but at the same time, a lot of people are losing money because of the scams, or they just
Yeah.
don't do their research, so it can be a little scary.
It seems
But
like it's opened up a whole nother level of scamming or like things
Mhm.
that you gotta figure out and know what to do.
right.
Yeah.
Because
Well, the thing is too, like you have all these, musicians like Snoop Dogg and people who really have like really heavy influence diving into this space. It's so easy for people to start picking up on shit like this, and that's really where scamming comes because people start picking up on it. And it could be like the younger generation. Like my little brother was talking to me about NFTs and shit. I don't personally understand it. He actually understood it more than me. And he was like schooling me on shit like that. But that's where you got to be careful because although they might understand that space, they don't really understand the technicalities, right? They haven't like
no.
gone that far. So, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely a space that I'm definitely waiting to see how it matures. I personally like investing in anything that has like some great innovation to it. I mean, the web, you have all these like e-commerce
Yeah.
sites now, right? Like Shopify and
Yep.
Square. So
Do
yeah.
you do crypto?
Crypto, yeah, I actually have about 5% of my net worth stacked in Cardano. For everybody listening to this, yes, Cardano. The only reason I put it into that is because me personally, we actually have within my firm, we have like a digital assets practice where we focus on blockchain and cryptocurrencies for banking. And there's a lot of use cases, and projects that we've done where it's just like, okay, I'm starting to understand some of the complexities and it
Yeah.
might be something that pays off in the future, but I'm not putting more than 10% of my net worth. Usually what I've done in the past is like put 5% of my net worth in gold or something
Yeah.
like that, and just
That's
like,
smart
Yeah.
though.
yeah, I'm just gonna put some into crypto, and if it pops off, then shit, it pops off, but if it doesn't, then it is what it is. You
Are
know.
you gonna be like those people who put their money on SHIB or Dodge and they've been waiting on it to rocket back up and it's
Hey,
only
nah,
going down?
for real. For
That's
real.
that's a scary place to be too. Like I don't know about all that. Do you do options?
I did, yeah. So I actually, like I said, my brother, he's a little bit more risky than me.
Yeah.
And you know, it pays off
Yeah.
sometimes, and sometimes it can't pay off. But it just depends on who you are as a person. Me
Hmm.
personally, I'm a long-term investor, and I'm really
Yeah.
explicit on what I invest. So, for instance, if I'm gonna do options, um, I might do it just one time, but the odds have to be like really stacked. Like there was this stock I was actually putting some options on, and it was like the highest shorted stock on the market. But I actually own a long position. I own about 800 shares, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy the call options because I own this stock and I've been owning it for a year, and that shit didn't pay off. I actually lost like 5 racks, but
Oh,
it's okay. Like, you know, I would only do it in those type of situations. If it's like, you know, some people usually just do options on the daily.
yeah.
Miss me with that shit. I'm good.
Do you
Yeah.
that requires a lot of attention and a lot of a lot of
Yeah.
your time. Now, do you
For
do
real.
like money exchange stuff?
Forex, nah, yeah, I don't do forex either. Like I said, I just do stocks,
Okay.
and that's it. Oh well, aside from stocks, businesses, right? Like
Yeah.
angel investing. If there's like an opportunity that comes
Yeah.
along, might want to invest into that. In my personal own business, because I feel like a lot of people tend to think about investing. That's another thing I wanted to ask you. Like people tend to think about investing like just stocks and NFTs, all these external assets, right? When really it's
Mhm.
like, bro, bet on yourself, like your own business. That's really an asset too. So
Right.
what, how did you go about, what I wanted to ask you is like, how did you go about breaking kind of like that mindset where it's like usually like, oh, well, you got to be stacking up the chips to bet on yourself, right? And that could be the scary part, because
Yeah.
either your money is going to appreciate or your business, right? Or you're going to
Yeah.
lose everything.
So what I would say when you're an entrepreneur, every dollar that you make, you want to put it back into your business.
Right.
So for me, I even had stacked up a 401k because I worked at a major record label at Universal Music Group for 6 years, and I had this great 401k, and I had to blow through pretty much my entire savings to just keep my business alive and investing back in so that it could grow and grow and grow and grow.
Right.
Um, and a lot of people wouldn't do that, right? A lot of people want to save for a rainy day, but I'm the type of person that I'm not a super risk taker, but like we said before, I'm going to bet on myself. And you have to invest in yourself, and you have to invest in your business for it to grow. So
Right.
once I started making a good money, I had to learn to bring in an accountant, a business manager, people that knew how to help me strategize and budget, because that's where I was going wrong. I was just like
Right.
doing things and I didn't know like how to plan it for the long term.
Yeah, I
I-
definitely agree with that. It's like our parents, you know, they own a small business and they've been very old school and
right.
you know, they trying to do everything themselves. And I feel like there's so much margin of error. You really need a team and, you know, bring, you know, accountants, you know,
Yeah.
somebody who can strategize for you. So
No,
definitely feel
yeah,
you.
I get goosebumps when I talk about this, because it's like that's the thing with minorities. You know, like minorities, it's typical. Minorities are like the greatest entrepreneurs here, period. Because the thing is, they're gonna start a business, they're gonna like, you know, stack the chips up for themselves. But when it gets really hard, it's like you said, planning for the long term, right? Like getting the accountants and really like knowing which entity to build. For instance, like I talk to a lot of my friends who are trying to, you know, go into business or do something, and usually they just like run their personal the business income through the personal taxes, right, without setting up no entity, like no LLC at least to start
Oh,
off.
wow.
Right. And it's the generational like illiteracy that we have, because we really never have gotten this education. So I'm really like happy that you brought that up, you know, thinking about these things for a long term. You got to get these accountants, the business managers. But another challenge is like finding those people. In your situation, how did you just get on a site and, you know, Upwork
No,
or some shit like that, or
Get on
never,
Twitter or Instagram. Who can hook me up?
never, never. It's always referral based, especially with something like that. You can't just Google that. You know what I mean? You want
right,
to know somebody's worked with that person before and it's been good. So it's back to the networking and building the relationships. I think that's super key. Even when it comes to money, like being at the table before deals go public or being at the table to invest in something, before anybody else knows about it. Like the other thing I was going to mention is now I get approached a lot of times because of my network to do like some new, so it might be a new tech company, it might be something here, something there that I'm interested in, or I think I could help with. I'll invest my energy and my time and my net worth, my network into the business so that I can have some equity in it, so that if I believe in it, I know it might not happen tomorrow, but it's going to be big and I'll have a piece of it.
Nah, facts. So one of the things we say with Wend, it's like we want equity, fuck all that other shit. Because like a lot of people, I have to stress this point so much. A lot of people, it's so easy to, just like the way we think as minorities is like, you usually your parents don't have a corporate job because they started their own business or something like that. So you go into a corporate job and then you get a salary raise, right? Cool, you're getting paid 6 figures now, but that's pre-tax. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, that's income. It's not really equity. So one of the things we're trying to really like cut through, through the clutter is that, hey, we need to be building equity and start instead of like building more income. So I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people won't take that bet. You know what I'm saying? If you see an opportunity come along, and it's like, well, do you want to like put 20% to get some equity in it? Or, would you take a salary raise and get paid 6 figs? Most of the time I'm putting my money that people are probably going to take the salary raise. And it's not because it's just the more money. We're just not educated on what exactly the equity, what is equity, right? And does it appreciate? Does it stay the same? So
I want those shares. I want to be, I want to be at that cap table. You know what I mean? And also the taxes part that you bring it up, the taxes, people don't know as an entrepreneur how many things you can write off, or the type of things that you can do as an entrepreneur. And I've been filing independently as my taxes for so long that I've never had I haven't had a W-2 in years.
That's tough. That's tough. Whoever is listening, man, please listen to Dina. I hope you're paying attention. Look, since we're talking about taxes right now, and taxes are like right around the corner. Can you like talk to people and, spit some game a little bit about how it works usually when you have a business and, as opposed to like W-2s and shit like that?
Yeah. Like, so when you have a business, you have to, when you pay people, you have to, I usually do independent contractor kind of thing. So you 1099 them. It's called a 1099. So if you're not getting a W-2, if you're not an employee, then you're considered a consultant. And I'm not first of all, I'm not a tax advisor. So I just want to say, but then you have to keep track, because anything over, I think it's $500 or $600, you have to then file taxes for it. And you get those people 1099. So when I'm doing my business, I don't do cash transactions. Like, I got to know, I have an invoice, I have your W-9, so that at the end of the year, when we're doing taxes, we get everything together, I can bill it properly and file it properly. So that's a lot of the people don't know that you can write off certain miles that you drive for yourself as an entrepreneur. And I don't know all the like technicalities of it because I have an accountant, right? But I just know that if you have a home office, that's another thing you can kind of write off as an entrepreneur, because a lot of people now, especially with the pandemic, they work from home.
Right.
So there's different ways around it where, it's a little different when you get your money all up front and you don't have to pay taxes until later. But you have to be able to like know that that's coming. It's 30% of what you're making, and you have to plan for it properly.
Right. And like you just said, even if you don't know like the technicalities to it, getting an accountant, and that's a really big thing. I just did my taxes, and I remember my girl last year, she was like, were you gonna do into TurboTax or some shit like that, the free version? I was like, nah, I got me an accountant. And man, the accountant is actually one of the most valuable things I've gotten, because they look through every little single thing. And I mean, you're gonna pay the fee.
Tax laws.
Right.
Like, we don't know unless you're studying the tax law. You don't know.
Yeah, you're not gonna know shit. And the thing is too, like he told me, because he was like charging me like $300. He was telling me, hey, by the way, that $300 you're paying, that's also tax deductible. I was like, man, that's a bet. Like, everything is tax deductible shit. Like,
even the shareholder meeting, he keeps joking. He was like, oh yeah, man, when we go big, we're gonna have our shareholder meeting out there in Dubai. We're gonna have it in Abu Dhabi, and it's gonna be a write-off.
That's gonna be written off.
All of that.
So You have a lot going on. So can you tell us a little bit about, your relations with like all these artists and how they came about? It seems like you're working very close with T.I. So how'd you get
Yeah.
connected with like T.I. and his org?
So when I was in college, I actually met his team, and I started kind of working with them before I started my PR firm, and I booked him for some shows, and I was the assistant to Jason Jeter, who was his then manager. So we have about a 20-year relationship. Then we both kind of left, did our own thing. He dropped trap music and all his other albums, and I continued to grow what I was doing. And then about 4 years ago, we reconnected, and he wanted me back on his team. And I helped, just kind of like general management, but on his management team. That is the only artist I'm working with currently, because I have worked with a lot in the past.
Right.
I am currently focused on building also the agency that I have, which is the all women agency, to mentor the next generation of women leaders and give more opportunity for minority women. So that's what we've been focused on for over the last year.
Nice. Where do you see that company or agency, going in like the next 5-10 years? What's the big goal? One of the big goals.
What I hope to do is build it, grow it to the point where we can sell it. I'm into like build to sell. That's my whole motto here, because you don't need to hold on to everything all the time.
Right.
And I feel like if we can get it as a multicultural agency, we can keep building the team, keep building the great clients, and get a real name for ourselves to be that go-to agency. I think a bigger marketing agency might want to like come and buy it.
Gotcha.
That is very, very dope. Yo, so like y'all only hire women at the agency?
Essentially, we try to give as much opportunity for minority women, so we can be hands-on with mentoring, because I've been in male-dominated industries my entire career, and most of my mentors, I mean, all my mentors have been men. So I wanted to make that difference for women, so that women can work with women and they can be in a safe, cool environment where they can collaborate and they can be, hands-on. Because I get a lot of people that'll contact me like, can I shadow you? Can you be my mentor? And I'm like, this is the way I can do it, where we're working together and you're able to learn as we go.
Yeah, no, that is huge, because I remember, I had a lot of friends who worked like in labels, or, were like A&Rs, like back in the day when I was in communication school. And they would talk about how like heavily dominated it is by males.
Yeah. And, I got to go inside a major record label, Island Def Jam, at its prime. We had Rihanna, Kanye, it was Jay-Z there. It was, I helped with the Rick Ross album, the Young Jeezy album, Nas, LL Cool J, Janet Jackson. We had everybody. So I got to see how a major record label works and how that whole world functions. And then once I gained my experience and my relationships further, I then left to do it all independently, because I'm about ownership. Like, I am all about
equity.
How can I? Yes. Being independent and being the owner of something. So that's why I created essentially a production company where I nurtured talent, writers, producers, artists. I signed them, got them deals, had the recording studio, had that space to really nurture creative talent. And I did that for so long.
It's great that you mentioned that, because I feel like a lot of people, they want to, get ahead of themselves, and they want to start a business quickly, and they just want it to happen overnight. And I tell Jill all the time, I'm like, for example, I'm in tech, and I've been in tech for like 3 or 4 years. And I'm like, I'm just, catching up. I'm trying to teach myself how to code everything, create apps, like get the blueprint. It's going to take some time, but then I'm going to transfer it, into like a business that I create, and then I'm going to own, and then, go from there. So I think it's really important, that we, go into a job and just not only go into it like a robot and just doing it just because it's required to do it, but actually understanding, how it works, like the business process, how everything moves around, like on the back end. So I think that's really cool that you went in there and, gathered as much information as you can, got the blueprint, and then you were like, okay, I'm not going to fumble the bag. I'm going to make it. So that's what's up.
You got to look at every single thing as a stepping stone, and to your bigger career picture, to your like ultimate goal. Nothing is a loss unless you don't learn something from that situation. Right. So for me, it's like, I just wanted to get the most out of that experience. You got to ask the right questions. You got to take that extra step, be proactive, and not just, like you said, just clock in, clock out, and just let it be a job.
Right.
One of my homegirls, actually, she was like, another story. She was an A&R. I forgot which record label it was, but she actually be rapping and shit. So she ended up, like, I don't know how she eased her way in there, and Lecrae ended up signing her because she was working with like, she was working with like their group. But it all started from her internships. Like, she would intern at a record label, like go on to another record label. And it's like, I mean, you're gonna get out of it what you really put into it, right? Like those type of firms, entities that have all the resources, you really just got to go in there, like finesse some shit and, take up for it for a while. But the more you learn, like the better off you're going to be later on, because they really have all the resources you need. So
even in like this business, nobody's ever asked me like, what's your degree in, right? They don't really ask me that. Like, not in this business, right? They're not like, oh, did you have a degree in business? Or, they don't ask that. Even my communications degree, I feel like has helped my career path, because every single thing that you're learning, it all flows together somehow at the end of the day. And everything, like I said, is a stepping stone. So even my communications degree, and I only got a bachelor's degree, like I didn't keep going because I wanted to, like, I'm, like I said, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. So I wanted to get my hands dirty. I wanted to get out there. And so, but it's come to help me throughout all the years. So nothing is amiss if you can utilize all your skills and your assets.
Wait, one last question, because I know like that shit people don't understand. When you say that I'm really in entrepreneurship at heart, like you didn't go for the MBA, like put your whole net worth and shit. Tell me about your like consistency. One of the biggest things I feel like for entrepreneurship is just being consistency. Like you could be 1 year in, 2 years in, and you haven't seen like no dividends pay off. But how is that? How do you keep up with yourself and like keep motivating yourself? Like, faith, or what is it for you?
It's definitely faith. It's knowing your bigger picture. If you know your bigger vision, like where you're trying to go, then it's all those small wins. You have to celebrate the small wins. Like you got through 1 year. Okay, that's crazy. You got through 2 years. A lot of businesses don't make it after 2 years. You know what I mean? So you got to celebrate those small wins and see the growth in it, and just keep your eye on your vision. And you've got to really, people think entrepreneurship is glamorous. And I tell them it's really not a glamorous thing. Like at the end of the day, you eat what you kill, and whoever like you have working for you, you got to pay them before you pay yourself. And so it's a lot of responsibility. So when I have my studio, and every first of the month when I had to make payouts, I was just praying I had enough money in that account to get everything done, because I'm the last person paid. And people don't see that. They think it's such a oh, you work for yourself, you make your own schedule. No, but at the end of the day, if one of the people you have on your team does not deliver and they don't do what they're supposed to do, you have to pick up those pieces.
Right. That's tough. Yeah, that's tough. No, I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of people tend to think it's just like, I'll go into this shit, do a year or so, and whatever happens, happens. But this shit could turn out to be 2 years, 5 years, 7 years. My parents been having this restaurant. They got a little restaurant right now. That shit been popping off for like what, Angelo, since
12 years, something like that.
Yeah. And it's not great.
Nothing crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Like they have some years where it gets really bad and some years where it gets good, but you just have to like show up every day. And
show up, and you have to be flexible, because the plan changes sometimes. Something happens and the plan has to change, and you have to be flexible. So your plan A might become, your plan B, and you have to pivot, and you have to keep up with the times. You have to keep up with what's new and what's happening, so that you're not aging the process out.
So you have a lot going on. What's your like work-life balance? What's something you do to kind of just keep the stress away? Because
she got hella energy.
I see you catching hella flights like left and right, and
listen, I try my very hardest. I've been doing it for the last 2 months, but working out every single day. I think I only missed like 3 days. And I just give myself at least 30 to 45 minutes. And I'm like, I have to do this no matter. All the work is going to be there. All the phone calls, all the people texting you, all the people needing you for stuff. But you got to give yourself that time, even if it's just 30 minutes to an hour out of your day, to just give it to yourself, so that you can continue to be able to produce and be productive because you're not productive. All that, like, no sleep, you know, you're a hustler, like no sleep kind of thing. Like, no, you do need sleep. Like, you actually
all that Gary V shit.
Like, man.
They be getting no sleep talking about I could operate. It's funny you say that.
Sanj just said that.
Sanj just said that. So we were interviewing Sanj from Squire. It's like a barbershop software, and they're like reaching unicorn status, I'm pretty sure, this year. But he was telling me, I was like, yo, so like, how do you keep yourself balanced or whatnot? He said the same shit. He said, man, you got to get some sleep. Like what I've been doing as of late is just sleeping. And he was saying that, you know, it's like really hard when you're operating at a grander scale, you can't really be functioning without getting your sleep in, you know?
Eating healthy, getting your sleep, like you need that time, because if you can be doing stuff, but it's going to take you a lot longer, and it's going to make you a lot more. If you just give yourself that little bit of rest time, even if it's that one day a week, if you say Sunday, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to answer calls. I'm going to just lay around and do nothing. It resets yourself. It re-energizes you. Like, it doesn't mean being an entrepreneur or being a hustler or whatever you want to call it doesn't mean you have to be on the go 24 hours a day. It means that you know, it's about working smarter, not harder, right?
Right.
Being strategic with your time.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'll tell you what, you definitely just motivated me, because I'm over here drinking this lick, and I was like, I ain't gonna work out today. I'm probably gonna have to go.
You gotta get it in tonight.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm gonna go hit the gym after this. I gotta pay it to myself, right? Yeah. Where can we find you? You know, your information, like for the audience, like, you know, socials or anything like that, websites.
You follow me on Instagram. It's my best platform. It is at Miss Marto, MISSMARTO. And I have a website, dinamarto.com, DINAMARTO. And also my company is cndtheagency.com.